Hello, my name is Bernard Keevy. I'm a strategic marketer. Welcome to my short presentation, which will last about 20 minutes, on how to double your profit in 6 manageable steps. And this holds true for any business, you name it, this will work. So let's just take an example here where a business is generating 1,000 prospects a year, converting 20%, which means they'd have 200 customers. If each customer spends twice, then they'll have 400 transactions. Each time they spend £1,000, so the turnover would therefore be £400,000 a year. Now, if the gross margin, which is basically the difference between the direct costs of producing these goods and services and how much you sell them for, so if that gross margin is 60% of the selling price, then the gross profit becomes £240,000. If we take off our fixed overheads of £150,000, so the fixed overheads are the overheads that don't change no matter how much you produce. So rent rates, fixed head office salaries perhaps, electricity power costs, perhaps certainly an element of them. That will give you a net profit of £90,000. Now, let's just see what would happen if we could make slight 10% improvements in 6 key areas, the ones I've highlighted in yellow. So we generate 10% more prospects, which is 1,100. We convert 10% more of them, which is 22%. We get slightly more numbers of transactions from each of our customers on average. So instead of 2 per year, it's 2.2. They spend slightly more. So instead of 1,000, it's 1,100. We make a 10% more gross margin. So instead of 60, well, we'll round it to 65 to make it simple. And we reduce our overheads by 10%. Now, this last bit isn't crucial because the figures still look pretty impressive if you don't reduce the overheads. But if you can reduce, obviously that's an extra benefit. Just computing those numbers through, you would actually find that you've nearly trebled your net profit. It's gone up by 173%. It's now 273%. Instead of 90,000, it's 245,666, which is an astonishing increase for those 10% improvements. Now, the first thing is that you may not even need to concentrate on all 6 because you could just look at 2 of them. You could just say, well, what if I made a significant improvement to the number of prospects I can generate and have strategies in place so that I convert more of them? Again, these 2 things are typically, for most small businesses, very achievable if you put the right plans and strategies in place. So in this instance, if your prospects were increased by 50% a year, you would end up with 1,500 leads instead of 1,000. And if you converted a 50% higher proportion of them, you'd convert 30% of them rather than 20%. Now, how much difference do you think that would make to your net profit? I think you'll be genuinely astonished when you see the effect it makes. And this, again, would be typical of virtually any business. You've over quadrupled it. You've got 4.5 times as much profit as you previously had, net profit. You've increased it by 3 1/3 times. So from 90,000, you've gone up to 390,000. And that is literally just concentrating on 2 areas and making significant improvements on both. But neither of those 2 increases are impossible for most businesses. Most of them are highly achievable. I think that's just astonishing when you actually see the implications of those figures. How would you do it? Well, the thing is, you need the right strategies and tactics in place, but if you don't measure it, it won't happen. So the rule is whatever gets measured happens. And what you'll actually find is that if you measure the 6 variables I previously mentioned, the leads, the conversion factor, the number of average transactions, the value of each transaction, the gross profit margin, and the level of your overheads, if you actually measure them, you'll often find that you get the 10% improvements in them simply by observing what's happening and measuring them. The fact that you actually watch what's happening and measure it means that you actually you do get these improvements almost in themselves. So we can help you generate strategies and tactics to increase your number of leads and your conversions and your average transactions, because if you look down the left hand side of our website, exponentialgrowthforyou.com, you'll see that there's a section on more leads, more conversions, more transactions, higher prices, more profits. You'll also see that you'll be part of what's called an e-learning weekly series, where you'll get a weekly video and a weekly e-lesson, and you'll also have access to a weekly group coaching session. So all of these areas will basically show you in logical order what you need to do in the right order in order to make those significant improvements in all the key areas of your business to achieve we don't really play at 10%, to be honest. We're looking at more towards the 50% area, but certainly the 10 to 50% improvements you need to make to double and more the size of your profits. Go to exponentialgrowthforyou.com and have a look. It's probably the best thing I could say. So let's just see how you can actually increase your profit significantly in a very short space of time. If you look at a typical buyer of a typical product, so we're not talking about impulse buys, we're not talking about everyday sort of commodity items, but we're talking about any sort of significant purchase or service, what you'll find is that at any one time only 1% of the potential market are actually ready to buy right now. So therefore, when you generate an inquiry or a lead, the odds are that they're not in that 1%. They're probably further back along the journey, which means that they're still looking as to whether they should have this product or service, whether they need it, whether it gives them benefit, and if they do have it, who should they buy it from. They move nearer to the purchasing stage and they become soon-to-buy buyers, and that's when they start raising objections to themselves as to whether they should have it or not and who they should buy from. And eventually they reach the stage of being ready to buy and deciding who to buy from. Now, unless you follow those potential purchasers all the way through the buyer's journey, then when they reach the 1% stage of being ready to buy now, they won't be with you anymore. They'll be with someone else, and they'll buy off someone else. So the danger is that you can generate inquiries and leads from customers or potential customers, prospects, further back along the journey, and unless you've got appropriate strategies in place, you'll lose them by the time they come to buy. So along the way, what they're looking for is information. They're looking for reasons to buy the product and reasons to buy from you. So you have to be supplying them information. You're not trying to sell them your product because they're not ready to buy it yet, but what they are ready for is a risk-free source of information, which is evidence. So the information is evidence as to whether they need this product and who they need to buy it from. So what you need to be able to offer them along the way to keep them on board are offers, informational offers, i.e. giving them information which tells them more about their decision, helps them make their decision as to whether they need this particular product, what sort of brand and variety and type, etc., and who do they need to buy from. So the question is, how do you get them to stay with you, to get these pieces of information to keep on board along the way? And it's all about selecting, first of all, the right distribution channel that they're eventually likely to buy through, then the right strategies to use, and then when you've got the right strategies, the right tactics. And we can help you with all three of those areas. So let's just look at some quick win tactics. These are all things that work in very short order, if you like, for most businesses in terms of generating leads and converting those leads. So these aren't the only tactics we use. There's 77 tactics in total, and at any time you'd pick maybe 2 or 3 of them. But these tend to deliver good, quick results. So business card. Most people's business card, it has all their contact details on, but that's it. So most people at networking events, they hand out business cards, they receive business cards, they take them home, they put them on their desk or they file them in a box, but they might connect on LinkedIn. But generally, that's the end of the matter. Those business cards aren't doing anything to generate leads. So what if you could we could show you a way to change your business card into a lead generation vehicle. What about your elevator pitch? Most people who go networking know that if they have to do, say, 60 seconds, they need to prepare a 60 seconds. But what about when someone first asks you as you go through the door, oh, what do you do? How do you answer? If you say, I'm an accountant, or I'm a surveyor, or I'm a plumber, or I'm an electrician, then really you've lost them, because you're saying what you are, but you're not really saying what you do. So you need to be able to say to them what it is you actually do for your customers and clients, so that you give them great benefit from dealing with you. And it's called an elevator pitch, and we can help you work on those. Ideally, you want a 10-second one, a 30-second one, and a 60-second one, and I can show you how to do that. You also, if you have existing customers, have a very rich source of prospects, leads, etc., because existing customers could give you referrals. Now, most people are aware of referrals, they know it's a good idea, but they don't really have any sort of system in place that basically says, if you give me a referral, I will reward you in the following way. So you need some sort of referral incentive scheme in place, which is justified in terms of how much it costs you, but basically gives your customers reasons to actually refer people to you. Because unless you ask them, they're not likely to do it. So you need to have a system to sort of you need to formalise your system so that you ask them to do it and then give them a reward for doing so. Just having a proper customer referral incentive scheme in place could in and of itself increase your number of prospects by 50%. So that would be a really powerful area to look at. When they come onto your website or landing page, so a landing page is just where it concentrates on the one particular topic that they've come on for, whereas the web page obviously covers everything that you do. A landing page is a good idea. So if you can generate leads to come towards your landing page, then when they come onto it, does your landing page convert them into paying customers or clients? There's a lot of talk these days about search engine optimization, which is obviously highly desirable, but there's not a lot of point in getting lots of people to visit your website if the website or landing page doesn't then convert them into going further along the customer journey with you. So you need conversion tactics. You need to follow a formula on your landing page to do this, and I'll show you later. You need to keep in contact with your your prospects, your potential customers all along the buyer's journey, as we saw earlier. So you need what's called a drip campaign. You need to be constantly supplying them extra pieces of information along the journey so they stay with you. The typical customer needs something like 5 to 8 times to be contacted or more. 80% of customers don't buy before they've had at least 5 to 8 positive contacts with the person they eventually buy from. So you need this drip campaign that basically piece by piece gives them further and further bits of information as you move them along the customer journey towards the 1% who are ready to buy and hopefully will then buy from you. If they come to buy and they decide, or they aren't ready to buy your full premium or standard offering, then why not have a downsell, a smaller or a reduced cost offering which you can fall back on? The point about this being that once someone actually buys anything from you, that turns them into an existing customer. Once they become an existing customer, then further along the line, they may well then decide to buy your full product offering. And it also means that because they're now an existing customer, you're able to make them part of your customer referral incentive scheme, which means you can use them to generate new leads for you as well. So a downsell option as part of your package of offerings really makes a big difference to how much you can actually sell, how much you can convert. Similarly, once you've got clients and they're ready to buy, an upsell or cross-sell or bundling strategy increases what they buy from you. So as with McDonald's, would you like to go large with that, sir or madam? Basically, if you can sell extra products or larger types or higher premium offerings or packages of your products bundled together, typically when businesses implement an upsell, cross-sell or bundling strategy, they get a 30% take up and they increase their transaction values by 30%. So downsell converts more customers that wouldn't otherwise have bought off you, and upsell, cross-sell or bundling means that people who do buy your standard offering off you when they reach the 1% stage will spend more with you. So there we have 7 tactics which we could choose maybe 2 or 3 at any one time. They'll generate more leads for you, they'll convert more leads for you, and they'll increase your average transaction value. Remember, we're only looking for anywhere between 10 and 50% improvements in each of those 3 areas plus 3 others. So let's just go back to the idea of a business card. Most people's business card just have all the contact details on, which obviously this one has. But what about if you also have an information offer, a free information offer, which can make them interested enough to actually go to your landing page or website? So for instance, here I have, see the other side of this card for a free report video or audio presentation on how to generate as many leads as you can handle. Now, there aren't many small business owners who are going to see that, who aren't going to be tempted to have a look on the landing page and to see what that report's all about. So you turn the page and it reiterates the point. Everything you've ever heard about lead generation is wrong. Learn how to generate all the leads your business can handle without spending a penny on marketing or advertising. Find out how and download your free video or audio. Go to my landing page. For your free report, the 3 biggest lead generation mistakes small business owners make, go to my other website. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm using the business card there as an offer, as a lead generation exercise to drive customers, potential customers, to a landing page or to a website. And then when they're on there, it's down to the landing page then to convert. I think that makes sense. Now, the conversion equation, when they go onto the landing page, now this holds true for anything you produce, an article, a flyer, a leaflet, an advert, it's the same principle. There are 4 elements to the conversion equation. The first element is you need to interrupt the potential customer, the prospect. They need to see something that shocks them out of just being on autopilot. So it's a headline that highlights a problem that they've got that they don't want. You then need to promise a solution, which is called a sub-headline generally. So the sub-headline then says, we have a solution to that problem. You haven't got this solution. We can make it available to you. You then educate them, which basically says you tell them more about the problem, you agitate the problem, you tell them, all the consequences of the problem, and then you tell them the ways in which you can solve the problem. Information, not selling. And then you make an offer, and the offer has to be information, obviously. It has to be risk-free so that people aren't scared off by it. So, for instance, a free consultation isn't really risk-free, because a free consultation implies that you'll be spending time talking to someone who's trying to sell you something. So it's not seen as risk-free. So it needs to be free, it needs to be no risk, and it needs to be information only. So let's just look at an example. Here we have a child psychologist. The original website for this child psychologist basically listed out all the things that he does and didn't really home in on a specific target market or a specific problem. Now, however, what you'll see is that there is a market dominating position. There's something that he emphasizes that he's unique in, which is, are you sick and tired of yelling, screaming, belligerent attitude of your child? I can show you how to make them well behaved and restore peace and quiet in your home. So that's homing in on a particular target market with a specific unique benefit. So let's see if it follows the conversion equation. Well, there's a headline that interrupts. Are you sick and tired of the yelling, screaming and belligerent attitude of your child? There's a subheadline that engages. Now we can, so in other words, we can show you how to solve the problem. Now you can discover the secrets to controlling your child and instantly restore peace and quiet in your home. There's the education bit. So there's a video which basically explains how he can help you restore peace in your home by controlling your child. And then there's a free, risk-free offer. So it's risk-free. Learn the secrets of gaining and maintaining complete control of your child in less than 60 seconds. Just leave your name and email address, sign up, and we'll send you a free video. So you're not being asked to spend time being sold to by a salesperson. It's a risk-free, easy offer. So, would you like more information? Would you like some free, risk-free resources from me? If you do, the first thing you can do is watch a free video called Everything You've Ever Heard About Generating Leads for Your Business is Wrong. If you go to www.exponentialgrowthforyou.com, you'll be able to watch that free video. So, thank you very much for listening. I hope you found this really interesting and useful. And just to re-emphasize, 6 easy steps, 10% improvements in each of them. Any business can do it, and you will double, treble, or even more your net profit. So, easily achievable for all types of business. So, thank you very much. This is Bernard Keavy. I hope you found this presentation very useful. Thank you.